when you flat, you won't have lost all the air. So first thing you gotta do is let all the air out. So with a Presta valve, there's a plunger inside here, a little teeny plunger. Air rushing out the pump pushes the plunger up and fills the tube. As soon as the pump has finished pushing air up, back pressure, whatever you've managed to put in the tire, pushes the plunger back down. Let the rest of the air out of your tube by unscrewing the knurled knob. There's a clue that you're supposed to touch it because it's knurled for texture, right? So touch it, unscrew it, and depress it to lift the plunger up, and air will shoot down. And then we get to this funny thing here. This valve nut does not belong on this rim. This is how powerful inertia is. This doesn't belong on any bike in our store, actually. And yet it still comes on every single inner tube, well, almost every inner tube we sell. These threads that are for that nut, when you throw your pump on and then rip the pump off, it does act like a file and munches up the grommet. Now that we have a bottom and a top to the rim and the valve stem passes through both walls, it's supported. So you don't need that valve nut. Most people use it as a valve extractor. And that's a bad thing. They put it on there and they just start tightening and tightening and tightening and tightening, and it rips the valve right out of the tube. Or at least causes it to pull so far down between the beads that it gets a tear. So anyways, get rid of that thing if you have it. I don't know, I skipped a step because it's just so natural. I don't know if you noticed, I pushed the valve up. It took some force too. It was down there quite a bit, and I literally pushed it up. Because what I'm doing is I'm pushing the valve. Let me get a tube to show you what I'm doing. So here's what happens if you do not push the tube deeply up into the tire. They put a little reinforcing patch right where the valve stem comes out. Right? It's a solid uniform tube of rubber. They punch a hole through it, stick this valve stem in, and there's a double thick, about a nickel or maybe even as much as a quarter-sized patch. If you look really closely, you can see it's a little thicker. Where it belongs, it's nicely up in the tire, doing its thing. Just a little bit of air in here. If I've used that valve nut, I've pulled the tube down like this, and then pinched the bead back around it. So that little bit of extra right there, when I'm trying to tug the tire off the rim at this side, it's stuck opposite me on the valve. So step number one, after letting the air out, is to push the valve all the way up, okay? And then what I do then is I hold it just like this with my waist forming a bit of a workbench, and my thumb pushes the tube up, my fingers grab the tire, and then I stretch. I'm stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching. I'm just considering the tire to be a great big rubber band. I've gone about halfway, I'll put my thumbs there. See the white skin there? I'm holding a fair amount of stretch. So I've stretched it. Now I'm going to flip it to this orientation and hold it down with the toes and keep stretching up. And then when I get to the top here, the tire just comes right off. Because I've stretched it. But it's just knowing how this is